can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Hey everybody, that's Matt behind the camera. I'm Ben, that makes this Stuff They Don't Want You to Know. And what a week it's been. Originally, we wanted to make this video just to let you know about our upcoming episode on Friday. But there's so much stuff that happened recently that we thought the time would be better spent asking your opinion. So let's catch you up real quick in case you haven't heard of this stuff yet. First, as you can see here, Pope's fake manifestos and North Korean nukes. Now, a lot of you probably already know what all three of those things are, but just in case. So recently, like this week, the 11th of February, the Pope announced that he is resigning. This is not the first time a Pope has resigned. The last time, granted, was Pope Gregory in 1415, and he resigned to end a schism. So this is not unprecedented, but it is incredibly unusual. It's the first time it happened in the modern age. So what we would like to know is, why do you think this has occurred? The Vatican's official reason is that the Pope's health has become an issue. However, some of our Facebook users have noted the prophecies of Saint Malachy, and we're looking into this now, and we wanted to hear your thoughts about this. We'd also like to thank everybody who's checking out our Facebook thread on this, because as always, some of the best information we get from our listeners. So thank you for that. Second thing, and this is sort of, as you guys might know, a personal hobby horse of mine, North Korea. North Korea very recently did their third nuclear test. How do we know? Well, we know based on sort of circumstantial information that we've derived from seismic vibrations. Essentially, it looks as though there's some sort of small earthquake in North Korea. Thing is, North Korea doesn't have those sorts of fault lines. You know, it's not on a San Andreas kind of thing. So we can usually tell if it's an underground nuclear test. And it seems that North Korea has done this again. So the big question, the billion-dollar question here is, what next? Usually, in the last few times that the North Korean regime has conducted a nuclear test, these were under Kim Jong-un's father, Kim Jong-il. Whenever Kim Jong-il was testing nuclear weapons, it was often interpreted as a move to gain better leverage in negotiating tables. So the chance of North Korea actually delivering some sort of bomb to Japan or the United States was fairly low. In general terms, it was fairly low. But what they were usually trying to do with this weapon was to gain more leverage in supplies of rice or supplies of fuel, supplies of cold hard cash. So is that the same thing that's happening now? It's very interesting to conjecture here, especially based on the timing in context of the United States domestic affairs. As we know, President Barack Obama is due to make a State of the Union address. Just with almost perfect timing, let's not call it a coincidence, there's a nuclear test. We would love to know what you think this means. Is this more of the same? Will North Korean nuclear capabilities evolve? We'll find out eventually, but we'd like to know sooner rather than later. Third thing, you've already heard of ex-LAPD officer Christopher Dorner. Now, for a little bit of background, Christopher Dorner was terminated from LAPD in 2008 after he ended his career as a Navy reservist, which was much more recently. He went on a rampage, a one-man war of revenge against the LAPD, against specific types of officers, specific individual officers, and some officers' families. Currently, he is linked to 3 murders, only one of which was a police officer, 2 of which were civilians, Michelle Kwan and her fiance, who, if he executed them, he murdered them for the crime of being associated with Kwan's father, who also worked with Dorner at the LAPD. But here's the thing, we're catching you up on all of this to ask what you think is going on with the Dorner manifesto. When he began this rampage, he specifically cited his goals and his targets and his ultimate aim for his operation in a manifesto that he posted on Facebook and gave to members of the media, most notably Anderson Cooper. But if you go and search for the Christopher Dorner Manifesto now, what you're going to find is something very interesting. There's not one copy of the manifesto, or two. There are more than 10 different varieties of this manifesto. Many are much longer, many are redacted. Matt and I have been searching to find the original unredacted one. Now, we found several that claim to be that, and they're all a little different. Why do you think these manifestos are changing? Are these internet trolls? Is there something larger at work? These are fascinating questions. Just to recap, here's what we need your help with. The Pope resigned. Why? North Korea is testing nuclear weapons. Why? Christopher Dorner's manifesto has multiple versions. Why? What we originally intended to do in this episode was to plug our upcoming episode, and I'd be remiss if I didn't at least do so. So as you know, last week we had a video on love, the ways in which love can skew your perception of the world around you. Of course, love is not the only emotion in the human spectrum, the human palette of experience. So we have another episode, one of the last Deceptive Brain episodes we're going to do for a little while, and it's about a couple of other emotions, which will hopefully be interesting and familiar to you. After we post these, we're going to be online for at least an hour just to field questions and comments. As always, we appreciate your time. We'd love to hear more about what you want to see in the future. So find us on Facebook at Conspiracy Stuff. You can find us on Twitter at the same handle. You can always send us an email at conspiracy@discovery.com.